Odysseen hadde ankommet Perth, verdens mest isolerte metropol med over 200 mil til Adelaide i øst. Etter 7 uker i bush og outback var en snodig opplevelse å være i en storby igjen. Og utover det var stemningen noe dempet ettersom tida var kommet for å sende Eirik på et fly tilbake til gamlelandet.
Going home today, Eirik? How do you feel about that?
Well, now that I know there's snow in Norway, I'm actually not that. Doesn't feel all that bad.
It's been a weird day, and it's going to be even weirder once we see him get through those doors.
See you later, man.
Yeah. Woo!
What's the room back there, Nina?
Yeah. Feels a bit lonely, though.
Yeah, one person short. It's a bit weird. Mens Eirik fløy langt nordover, fortsatte vi et lite stykke sør. Til Fremantle og forstaden Hamilton Hill, hvor bofellesskapet Pinakarri har holdt til siden 1999. Here we are. På 3 mål i urbane omgivelser huser Pinakarri rundt 40 mennesker. Det består av 12 boliger og fungerer som en sammensetning av privat eie, borettslag og offentlig utleie. Fellesskapet ble dannet lenge før de hadde eiendom og boliger. Da en gjeng med unge foreldre gikk sammen med et ønske om en bærekraftig livsstil og en mer sosial oppvekst for barna sine. Unnat Natty kunne fortelle at fellesskapet har vokst utover grensene med åra.
These are rental homes, so there's 8 houses over here, 4 houses here, 12 houses in total. Plus, somebody bought the block next door, somebody bought a block over the road, somebody bought a block down the street. So there are satellite households around here as well that are involved in the community as well. One of the main things about co-housing design is that the cars are kept to the periphery of the site. That creates space inside the site. So all the greenery and all the lushness and the lawns and so on, we only have space for that on such a small space because we don't allow the cars to drive in and park next to the houses.
Det var en lang og detaljert designprosess for å gjøre så mye som mulig ut av den plassen de hadde. Og for å gjøre alle husa så effektive som mulig med tanke på passiv solvarme. Til gjengjeld bruker boligene minimalt med strøm til oppvarming og avkjøling, og Pinakarri har vunnet lokale priser for bærekraftig planlegging.
This is part of the deal, these vines. All the houses are passive solar design, which means the windows are on the north face. In the winter, when the sun is low in the sky, the sun comes in, heats the concrete floor. In the evening, when the sun goes down, the concrete floor releases the heat throughout the house and warms the house. It's very effective. We've lived with no space heating at all, just using the heat of the sun to heat the house.
Beboerne Josina og Darcy har begge erfaringer fra andre lignende fellesskap, og de mener Pinakarri har funnet en god modell i balansen mellom fokus på bærekraftighet og fellesskap. Nederlandske Josina kom til Australia i 1987 og sier at samholdet i oppstartsfasen bidro til at hun fant seg raskt til rette.
When I came to Australia, of course, I was very isolated as a migrant.
Yes.
And I had young children, and so as soon as I heard about this, I went into it. Mm. And actually, we started 17 years ago, and it took us 8 years before we could move in. But we already had a total community life. We all had very small children, so we started a childcare, and we basically 2 adults would look after all the kids. We had about 10 kids, which was fantastic. So we had several more. Then we could have our meetings and work on our plans and design and talk about what we wanted, what we stood for, what we believed in, which took, of course, a long time. Now, quite a few of us, our kids have actually grown up and moved away. So.
Yeah, we've run out of babies. So. The youngest is 11 now. So
All right.
You know, when they moved in, they were, you know, toddlers, and it was a lot of single mothers initially, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah.
And
Now we seem to be attracting men.
yeah. Now
The single mothers?
Now
Or
the,
Now that we're
community?
established, they're,
Yeah.
they're daring to come in.
Oh, okay.
now the kids have left home.
You've lived in a few intentional communities through the years, or
Yeah, I've many different types and styles, but nothing really as structured as this. I had many years in the East Coast, in rural communities, North Queensland, Northern New South Wales, around Byron Bay, and you know, Mullumbimby, Goonangeri, also in the Bellingen, Thora Valley. There's many communities there, Homeland, Streamtime, Die Happy.
Die Happy.
Yeah, that's another community which is, you know, they all have various levels of success, and some communities were just formed on private land. You know, one person owned the land and communities formed, so it has a whole different connection and problems.
Yeah.
But the model that we have here, I think, is working quite well.
You're forever learning. It's like ongoing. I mean, it's like you can be single, you can be in a relationship, right? Single is way easier, isn't it? Everybody agrees on that. But still, we all want to be in a relationship because, you know, it's much more fulfilling generally.
Yeah.
Unless we give up that it's too hard. But otherwise, we're in a relationship. Well, now, here we are in a relationship with 30 or 40 people, and it's just really interesting.
Den sosiale modellen i Pinakarri har skapt et tett samhold. Men samtidig gjør den finansielle modellen at tilværelsen for mange er usikker, på grunn av en gjentatt økonomisk vurdering av leietakerne i de offentlige boligene.
Government regulation and the interface with intentional communities is problematic in that it creates certain regulations create a poverty trap, and we don't want to be bound within that poverty trap. So,
Okay.
because when we were initially funded, there was no ongoing eligibility.
Right.
So you had to be eligible under a certain income and asset limit as you entered the community, but there was no ongoing. So you could, you know, study, get a good job, earn money, pay more rent, subsidise more housing.
Yeah.
Then the government, in their wisdom, decided to introduce asset tests, ongoing eligibility. So you had to remain poor to stay in the community housing.
Because in a way, ongoing eligibility kills community, because then people have to leave, which, you know, if you don't really, if you can't stay, I mean, you have to be able to stay to be able to foster the community.
Yeah.
Even that fear is very, you know, very detrimental.
You know, we're lucky in that there is a house available for us to rent within the community, which is privately owned. Otherwise, you know, we'd have difficulty moving into the private rental market in the area because it's so expensive. That's one of the pitfalls of accepting finance, I guess, from the government.